Morning guys, Craig here from Out There Touring. Today is installation day of the Direction Plus pre-filter kit for their fuel management system. So you would have seen a few weeks ago I put a quick little video up saying I received a parcel from Simon from Directions Plus, and in that package was the fuel manager system. So just going to open it up and let's see what's in there. So we've just got some diesel line or fuel line, and it's 9.5 millimeters by Gates. So I've done a little bit of research as well, and apparently like Gates is the hose to get. So it comes with some quality kit. It's got the fuel manager system, the filter itself, and we'll talk about that shortly. It's got the mounting bracket. And it's got a lot of fittings, some Loctite, stainless steel nuts and bolts, nylock nuts, which is important. So I'll run through that as we go through it. And it's also got instruction manual, which has got a QR code on it to go through for your instructions. So I've just looked at the instructions. They look fairly simple and fairly self-explanatory. I think there's also some stuff on YouTube you can have a look at. So first thing is, got to disconnect the existing fuel filter and then remove that mounting bracket, fit the new mounting bracket that comes with the kit, and then just rebuild it slowly from there. Just take your time, there's no rush. I think they say, like, guys who know what they're doing, they allow an hour for it. I'm going to allow 2.5 or so. Just, you know, there's no rush. Let's go. So here's the factory filter. First thing you need to do is disconnect the wiring harness. There's 2 connectors. Then disconnect the hose. The filter can be lifted out of its bracket and just put off to the side. Probably grab a rag and just put over the inlet here, just to protect it from any dust or anything getting in. So we just undo these mounting brackets, 10mm bolts. So what I've done, I've actually taken the filter all the way out. I've disconnected the other hose just to give me a bit more space in here. So there's 5 mounting bolts you will have to remove. You will need to reuse them. So just run through it. There's one at the back. There's one in behind that bracket. There's one down the bottom here. And then the 2 at the top. So the new bracket's in and mounted. 5 bolts. One down behind this bracket. One inside that bracket. One at the face here. And 2 on top. The factory filter just slides back in. I'll refix this hose, just temporary. Then you reconnect your harness, factory harness clips. Then just mount up the new filter or the pre-managed system, mount that up. I'll disconnect this hose, which come from this connection. I'll disconnect it on the other side, and then it's a matter of measuring your hose to what you require and cutting it and fitting it. So when I've just had a quick look at the filter, the O-rings are all dry. So just remove, there's 3 O-rings, one in the bottom, one in this clip here, and one at the top on the filter itself. So just remove them all. I've just collected a bit of diesel out of the original filter housing, and just put a little bit of diesel on that just to lube them up. And just make sure the O-ring sits in there properly. You don't want too much, And when you tighten it, you'll notice that there's a little indicator. And you just want to tighten it so the indicator lines up again. Do that on all of them, reassemble it, and then we'll put it in. And then just tighten back to that indicator so the O-ring's sitting properly. Now when I first undid the top one, it was very tight, and you will have to work it out a bit. There is little flanges that will marry up with inside the lid as well. So just make sure you got them in the right spot. Tighten until you hear it click, and that will line up with the indicator there as well. What I'm doing first is the hose that's going to be my inlet hose. I'm actually fitting that before I fit the filter kit, just due to ease of access. That's it there, and I'm using the original factory clamps. Also what I did was just put a little bit of diesel on the inside of the hose, just so it slides over the fitting easier. Just line the holes up, nylock nuts, make sure you got your washers on. As I said, these are 17mm. Now, if you've got a dual battery system, you might want to turn these nuts and bolts around the other way. So you'll notice the bracket's mounted, the new fuel manager's mounted and secured. I've got my hoses done up, my electrical connectors are done up to the factory filter assembly. All I have to do now is put on the fittings for the inlet hose and also the outlet hose to come back. Okay, so you'll notice some little arrows, inlet and outlet, on both sides. I'm going to cap these ones, and on this side will be my inlet and outlet. You get a bit of Loctite, so you just want one bead going around the thread. Don't need much. Then just work that into the thread. Exactly the same with the hose fittings. Just put a bit of Loctite on there. Just need a little bit. Now these are I think they're imperial, and 11/16 is your spanner size. Don't over tighten them. So then just run your inlet hose around, work out where you need to cut it, and then cut your hose accordingly. So when you put the hose onto these fittings, it is barbed. So the fittings is barbed, and you've got a cap at the top of, I suppose I'd call it a cap. So you want the hose to go all the way into that. And again, just a little bit of diesel in there, and then work it in so it's all the way in, and that's not coming off. So there's the complete installation. See the new hose coming from down the bottom, it wraps around and comes up into my inlet, and then the outlet just goes down, around, and goes back into the factory filter. The harnesses are connected back together, all clamps are on. Now this harness wire is quite tight, so just be aware of that. All you have to do now is prime the filter. Job done. Probably took me an hour or just over an hour. I reckon you could knock it out of the park in 40 minutes, and the mechanics probably do it in 20 minutes, half hour. So just the tools involved in installing the Direction Plus Fuel Manager Pre-Filter Kit. I used a drill for 10mm socket piece on it, just for those two nuts or those two mounting bolts on top. 10mm spanner to get the side brackets mounts undone. Then there was a 17mm spanner used, a 11/16 spanner for the fittings on the end, for the hose fittings, a 6mm Allen key to put the plugs in. I used a socket set, some pliers to undo the clamps, and also some hose cutters. You can use a Stanley knife as long as you get a clean cut for the fitting. So that's the installation done of the pre-filter kit. As I said, Simon from Directions Plus, I really do appreciate the fact you sent one out to me, plus the other, the tyre deflators. The installation, really easy. It's a nice simple install. If you've got any questions, drop a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can, or reach out, make contact with one of the Direction Plus suppliers. They'll get back to you, give you all the information you need, and yeah, they'll help you out wherever they can. Thanks again, Simon. I really do appreciate your offer. Guys, hope you liked this one. I'm going to wrap up the video there. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. There's more videos coming. Cheers, guys. Travel safely.